With the Penguin all wrapped up, I think it's fair to say that we all had high hopes for the show to begin with. But somehow, it blew all our expectations away that by the time it finished up, I could not believe how excellent it was. And I could go on and on about everything I loved about this show, from the incredible performances from Colin Farrell, Kristen Milioti, Ray Henze-Felix, and honestly the whole cast. I think I actually liked Mark Strong's Carmine more than Simmons, which is crazy to say out loud. Which goddamn, Mark Strong loves DC, man. The set design is immaculate, especially with how they make Gotham look in the show. As I was watching the scenes in Crown Point, I kept reminding myself how this is a show, but the way it used its budget is so well done. Way better than most TV shows lately. Hell, even better than most movies lately. And of course, the constant twists and turns in the narrative really made this show feel like a thriller at times. I could not guess where the finale was heading to, and it somehow all came together perfectly. Overall, this show was incredible, and I do agree with the majority that it is one of the best comic book shows to date, but it still doesn't top the undisputed best comic book show of all time, Daredevil. That's not an opinion, that's a fact. But with all the praise I can give this show, the biggest takeaway I had by the end, and the one creative decision I appreciated the most, was the fact that the Penguin, you know, the famous Batman villain, is, would you believe it, not really a nice fellow. Not the kind of chap you would want to go get a drink with after work. He's fucking evil. The show is able to make him feel like a human being, but doesn't forget that he is supposed to be a villain. And it does a considerable, substantial, pronounced, sizable, significant, appreciable, serious, exceptional, indoctrinate, extraordinary, large, special, big, extensive, expansive, broad, wide, ample, spacious, vast, immense, huge, enormous, gigantic, massive, colossal, mammoth, monstrous, prodigious, tremendous, stupendous, unlimited, boundless, cosmic, humongous, whopping, thumping, whacking, ginormous job at making him this convincing, conniving liar. And there isn't a word big enough in the thesaurus to describe how great of a deceiver Oz is, because he's so good at it that we, the audience, fall for his bullshit. We have compassion for him as we see him as this laughingstock no one cares for, this person that is used by bigger people to gain their own goals, a lonely driver who wants more for his life. And then he betrays Sophia so hard that she becomes a raging, murderous, lovable psychopath. And that's Mama, so I can't forgive him for what he did to her. But that reveal in episode 4 puts everything you see in the first 3 episodes and the rest of the season going forward into a completely different perspective. Sophia was kind to him. Hell, even stuck up for him when others, including her own family, treated him horribly. And what does she get in return? You know, a nice cozy free stay at Hotel Arkham. Oz betrays every person around him, and what makes his character so intriguing to follow is wondering what is true about him and what he actually believes in. It's such a fun thing to go looking for. Does he actually believe in the messages and philosophies he talks about? And man, I can't fucking tell you. Which goes to show how exceptional he is as a manipulator, because even the audience can't trust anything that comes out of his mouth. And unfortunately, the one person that bought into his bullshit the most was Victor, and he paid the ultimate sacrifice for it. But that got me thinking about the show's overall message, and the funny thing is, throughout the whole show, Oz is right. His ideals about wanting to bring impoverished communities and people together, to not allow the elitists to hold them back, to have the right to be taken seriously, to be able to make a meaningful life for yourself. Hell,
that should be the American dream.
But here's the thing. Oz obviously isn't the embodiment of it. It's Victor. And the fact that Oz kills him shows that he most likely doesn't genuinely, wholeheartedly believe in the preaches he gives. And doesn't really even care for the American dream. He talks to Victor throughout the whole show about how people like them, the hard-working folks, deserve to climb up the ladder to make something for themselves. But deep down inside, Oz is an elitist. He just hasn't gotten there yet physically. But mentally, he's already there. And like all these elitists, they kill the American dream. They believe it's only for them, and that everyone else around them are little tools they can use. But with all that said, I actually do think Oz loved Victor, but his sociopathic need for power was too strong. You can see right before he actually does kill him, his eyes get a bit watery. But once the deed is done, he moves on like nothing happened, and to make it even worse, he digs into his wallet and takes the cash he has. And showing that shit shows some true guts. As much as I enjoy sympathetic villains that you can get behind, sometimes it's okay with having someone just be an irredeemable, sick, twisted, evil piece of shit. And the show balances that line between having us care but also making him pure evil. When you see his childhood, they could have easily given him a backstory where he was bullied for his leg, pushed around, and that his father's gone, and made a whole boo-hoo Oz episode. And I think that would have been done well. But something about showing that he's simply been evil since the beginning and you could never trust him makes for a bolder approach to the show. To the point where by the end of it, Sophia feels like the protagonist and we're rooting for her to take down Oz, and yet somehow it doesn't compromise our want to see Oz's story conclude. The Penguin is the most fearless and audacious big budget studio project I've seen this year, even if it's painfully obvious at times that it's derivative of works we've seen before. But the sheer guts it has to make an evil bastard the main villain, and no matter how much humanizing they do, remind you that he is a bedeviled person that in all actuality deserves true punishment and we shouldn't feel sympathy for, since the series shows us that Oz is in fact the reason for all his pain and torment. He could have love, he could have respect, he has the brains to have power, but he pushes it all away in favor for his wicked lust for more, to one day find his distorted view of an American dream.